Okay, so in this video, we are going to draw our first detail. All right, so let's open up CAD, and I would like you to open up our template. It should say read only. Okay, make sure you have this one that's CRDT and say yes. Okay, and that just lets you know it's a template. And so the first thing we're going to do is hold down Shift and Control, tap S, okay? And we're gonna call this guy, let's go to our TTU Credit Union, CAD, and we're gonna put this here in our detail notes, okay? We're gonna use one drawing for all of our notes, and let's call it TTU CU Details, okay? And then just hit save. All right, and then let's jump over to model space. Okay, now the first thing you want to do is make sure you're in the right units. And I like to do this no matter what drawing I open because things can get really frustrating if you think you're in inches and you're really in feet and vice versa. Okay, so change this to architectural, 1/8 precision, insertion scale will be inches. Okay, now click OK. All right, and down here, make sure you're in architectural. All right, now, one of the first things we're going to need to do is check our we need to check our dimensions, okay, and how they're functioning, okay. Actually, before we do that, let's go to FX Admin and let's go to Project Manager, okay. And whenever you open a completely fresh drawing, Land Effects has no idea that it needs to be associated with a certain project. And this is critical, especially with details, because their detail system is very, very good. We're going to draw the details here. Land Effects, when we're done, is going to package them up into a block, and then we are going to be able to add them to our project and other projects, because you always want to reuse good details. And then you're just going to be able to drag and drop them into Paperspace at the right scale. Okay, so everything's going to be taken care of, but you need to make sure you're in the project. Okay, so click open. All right, and let's just click OK. Okay, now let's check our dimensions. So if you come to FX Site and grab Site Dimension and just drag something out, okay, you're gonna see that we have the feet mark and that's not what we want. Okay, we're gonna want inches. Okay, so how do you fix that? Let's delete this, and let's first come up to FX Admin and let's go to General. Okay, and make sure that you either have your personal preference set or you're on Imperial. Okay, so let's I'm gonna just use my personal preferences, okay, but it's pretty much the same as yours. Okay, now to change that dim style, it's called dimension style, just type in dim style, okay, and it's gonna give you this pane. And what this is a preview of how the current dimensions are going to look. Okay, so make sure you're on this Land Effects Standard 20. Okay, and we're going to modify this. Okay, now the text color, you always want that to be red, or I do anyway. The fill color, I like that to be background, and what that does is if your text is on top of something, which it really shouldn't be in a detail, it just creates a mask. Okay, leave all of that alone, and let's go to the, should should have started here. Let's go to the lines, okay, and we're gonna make that color red, okay, and the extension lines, we're gonna make that red as well. Okay, now critical is coming here to primary units. We're no longer in decimal, we're in architectural, okay? So now you've got the correct notation there, okay? Super important. Now I put a foot mark there. I really should never have done that, but I wanted that before, so I'm taking that off. All right, let's go and do okay. And let's set this current and then close. Okay, now let's draw out a quick dim line. And good, right on the money, fractional inches. All right, now the next thing we want to do, anytime you're doing any drawing from scratch, you really want to work with references, okay? So come over to this layer properties manager and you're gonna see these are all the layers from our viewport, okay? And we really don't even need this viewport. And so let's get rid of this guy, all right? And then let's do a Control S to save and then just do a purge. Okay, to get rid of all the layers we don't need. Purge all, purge all, purge all, close. Okay, helped out a little bit. All right, now we don't want to be on this layer, okay? But there's several layers we're gonna want to use when we're working with details. And this is pretty neat. This helps you a lot because it preloads layers that you will use for different reasons, for different drawings. Okay, so if you go to FX Admin and choose Load Layers, we are going to choose Details. Click OK. Let's just select Landscape, well, obviously Landscape Architecture, and then boom, we got, I think, a few too many, but not bad, okay? And now keep in mind, these are really great because they just tell you exactly what the line weights are, okay? So some of these are for blocks, grids, hidden, you know, all that stuff, no plot, but you don't have to name every layer, you know, top of all of that. Sometimes you just need to know the line weight, and that's especially true for details. Okay. Now, the problem a lot of you were having with your XREFs was this guy was selected. He wasn't even active, but he was selected. And then you went and you created a new viewport. But the way CAD works, whatever layer is selected and you create a new viewport, it inherits all of the characteristics of the one that was selected. And this is the last layer you would ever want to use as a template for your XREF. Okay, so let's delete that layer that we just made. You didn't have to make it, but this is not a good layer to start anything with. Okay, let's just use this guy, plain Jane. Okay, and now Alt N is new layer, and you're gonna call this X, and we're just gonna call this reference. Now double click on here to make that active. Let's open up our XREF. All right, and we are going to XREF in an image. All right, and let's go to our Credit Union CAD, CU Detail Notes, and we're gonna start off with typical 5-inch flat work. Okay, this is just our sidewalks. Click Open, and just let this guy fall where he's, fall right at the money. All right, thank you for your service, Mr. XREF Payne. Now, huge thing in CAD is learning how to scale accurately, okay? Because this is just a screenshot I took from some professional construction documents, all right? And we need to scale it up because you always in CAD and model space, you always work without a scale. You always work in full dimension. So we need to make sure that this is actually 5 inches, okay? So here's how we do that. Type SC for scale, select your box, have your F3 snaps on, so you're grabbing it right at 0, 0. Now, if you look down here, this is where the magic can occur with so many of CAD's tools, okay? And a lot of people don't realize how many options you have with these tools, okay? I think most of you do know how to scale like this, but it's always a good idea to look down here. So we're gonna type R for reference, and we're gonna tell CAD, hey, reference this line, holding down the wheel to pan, making sure polar, okay? You could see there, we're only 1/2 inch, boom. So now what we need to tell CAD is, hey, whatever that line was, make it 5 inches. So just type in 5, hit enter, boom. Okay, Z, E. All right, and now to double check, we can go to FX site, dimension, okay, and we should be, yeah, you could see right there, we're on the money. All right. Let's do a Control S. Okay, now when you draw, when you create details, I like to use a 3-step process. I always do my line work first, then my hatching, and then my notation, okay? And you can think of line work as like a pencil sketch, hatching as, you know, painting, rendering with paint, and then your notation is self-explanatory. So really following that workflow helps a lot because you don't want to jump around all the time. It's good to just, for me anyway, to have a system. Okay, now all of this text and even the hatches need to be scaled to a dimension that we're gonna put this into when we go to Paperspace, okay? So that'll make sense in a second, but what we're gonna do is come up to FX details and we're gonna create a template for this detail, okay? So you're gonna come to insert detail viewport, okay? And we're gonna call this tip flat work section, okay? Now that is going to go into your detail library, okay? And it's going to be just like the trees. When you go and they have thousands of trees, you're going to have all your details in there and you can load them in. Now don't worry about all of this. Just grab 1A, okay? And click OK. Now, obviously this viewport, this little viewport is not gonna fit this guy, okay? So the way this works, again, if you look down here, you see if you type K, you're gonna get keyboard commands. Okay, so E means we need a larger scale, and Q means a smaller scale, and they're really close to each other on the keyboard, okay? And really so far, these are the only two I've ever needed to use. So let's click OK, all right? And let's start typing E to make this guy bigger, okay? And that's gonna work. We're gonna let's type W, or Q, I mean. So I wanna I'm gonna have to go back to E, and I'm just gonna make that text wrap. Okay, so I'm just gonna click that, and it tells you automatically, hey, this, when it goes into Paperspace, it's gonna be 1 inch equals a foot. Okay, now let's do a Control S, and we can start our drawing. Okay, now these are very thick lines, all right? So I'm gonna come up to the thickest line that is available to us, and that's 100 millimeters, or I don't know what that, I guess that's what it is. Double click on this guy, type L for line, come over here, okay, and just drag that out with polar, hit enter. Now this one doesn't matter if it was perfectly on the money, because what we're going to do is copy, grab this guy, and then we're going to come down, make sure you're going straight, okay, yeah, and then just type 5 for 5 inches. So boom, you're right on the money. Okay, now we need to draw some boxes for our hatching, all right? And I'm going to do this detail just a little bit different than they have. So let's grab a thinner line, okay? Why don't we use this nice softer red? So double click on that. And what we're going to do here is we're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to make this one at a slight angle. And my polars aren't really doing too well. So let's just make it like that is fine. Everybody's is going to be a little different. So now copy when you make, and then we're going to put this one here, and you'll see why we're doing this. Okay, now TR for trim, okay, and you can trim this, you can trim that. Okay, now remember, the cool thing about trimming is if you hold down shift, you get extend, okay? And it doesn't work when you have a damn image underneath it, all right? Sorry about that, but it does work. It's just when you have one of these images, okay? So EX for extend, TR, and let's trim this guy. Okay, now let's draw out our earth hatching box down here, and this doesn't have to be super precise because it's just going to be compacted dirt. So REC for rec, and let's click on that. Am I coming straight down? Come on, buddy. F11. There we go. Wait. Okay. And what we're gonna do, it's kind of a mess. Sorry. Let me get this straight. Oh, no. There we go. I guess it was. Okay. All right. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little symbol here. And this indicates to people that this condition continues, okay? And what we're saying is, see, the whole point of details is you could have a 300-foot long sidewalk, but you're not going to take a cross section of the whole thing. And I know you guys know this, but what you are going to do is you're going to take a cross section of part of it, okay? And then they'll know by this little symbol that this concrete just keeps going. Okay, so that symbol is up here under graphics, and it's called a break line symbol. So if you just grab that and click it on there, it just does it automatically. Space bar, click that on there. Okay, so now you're good. All right, and we don't really need to do one with our earth, okay, because that's kind of self-explanatory. But I do want to kind of line these guys up and I'm going to leave that one the way it is. I'm going to convert this to an arc and just give it a little bit. You can see how they have theirs kind of wavy, okay? Guys get really into this stuff, and you know, it's good to have, you know, pride in your work. Okay, so that's so far so good. Let's do a Control S. Now, let's hatch, okay? And we're gonna come up here and choose hatch, detail hatch. Okay, now this has to be in a, wait, I don't know if it has to be in a closed polyline. Let's see. We're going to use concrete, okay, under detail. And let's pick this dense 2, click OK. Now, I think, yeah, you can just, oh man, okay, that didn't work. In this one, you can actually just click in the middle of an area and it will work. So let me show you that really quick. We're going to go to hatch. Okay, and underground cover site. Where is our site? There's a universal symbol for, there it is, exterior improvements. So if you go to detail, exterior improvements, I love this one, this earth. Okay, so just grab this basket weave hatch, click OK. All right, and then you're just gonna come in here and boom, now you're hatched. Now with this guy, we're gonna have to, they want this to be a closed polyline. Okay, so I probably should not have put these symbols on there. So let me see what happens. See, that's gonna turn, I don't think that, all right. So let's delete these guys. I'm sorry, fellow folks. Didn't, all right. Delete. Okay, EX for extend, boom, boom. Okay, coming back up to hatch. Okay, clicking on that fella. Now, let's just stick to detail. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. I have done this before, but so just please bear with me. Okay, now we're hatched. Okay, so there we go, looking good. Okay, let's do a Control S to save. And now let's get that little fella, that break line, and choose line. Okay, remember I was able to do that because I have on selection cycling. Very important tool that I almost always have on. Okay, line, boom. All right, now, so far so good. Control S. All right, now let's get our notation in, and we're gonna wrap this one up. Okay, so detail annotate. Now these are just simple arrows. Okay, so we're gonna come up here, detail leader with mtext or with text, and we can convert that if we need to, which I think we will. Okay, so I'm just gonna click here for the arrow. I'm gonna come up here and type in what we have here, 4,000 PSI PCC. That means Portland concrete flat work. Okay, now enter, good, it's fine. And then what we're gonna do in parentheses with, we're gonna spell it out, 6, and now you do make these kind of X's small. Okay, 6 by 6, number 10, wire mesh. Okay, so that's it. Now, gotta close that up. Okay, I'm gonna push pause and I'm gonna finish this detail up. So you do the same, and then I can show you how we can load this into the system. Okay, and remember, we don't need to type this in because we have it down here, okay? And the nice thing is, Land Effects puts a lot of this stuff on the right layer, okay? So all I need to do now is grab this annotation or dimension. So this is gonna be linear, yeah, let's go here. Okay, let's leave that alone. You can see there's the mask there. Okay, and let's do a Control S, and we're gonna move this guy up here, and let's just double check our work. Okay. Okay, 4,000 PSI, that's pounds per square inch. PCC, that's Portland concrete cement. That's what it is. In Portland, we're not talking about Oregon, folks. We're talking about a stone, a very, very expensive stone in England. And when concrete first came about, somebody started calling it Portland stone, probably, because they thought they could raise the price. But anyway, that's where Portland comes from. Okay, now remember, we talked in the lecture or the presentation about asphalt and concrete. You always have to have your subgrade compacted, all right? And with asphalt, you're gonna have, hopefully, crushed road base in there, and that's gonna be compacted, and then your concrete. But concrete is really just poured on compacted earth. Okay, I'm gonna drag. Yeah, there we go. That looks sharp. Okay, that's a nice looking detail. Okay, now I'm gonna do a Control S. All right, and I'm gonna put this guy to the side. Now he's gotta be out of your box, okay? Because Land Effects is gonna save everything inside of this box, okay? Okay, now what we're gonna do, remember, FX details your tab, here's your ribbon, okay? And we're gonna save our detail. Okay, now we're gonna save it in here, TTU, credit union, and this should be yours, okay? And we are going to, let's see, I already did a lot of these, okay? But you're probably not gonna have anything there, okay? So yours should just say 1 or 01, okay? And so what we're gonna do is choose select. Okay, now again, let's do our title. Let's give it the full title. Typical flat work, or no, let's call this 5-inch flat work section. Okay, now, really important, I need your initials in here, and you're gonna be the ones checking these, okay? So we should also put a description and okay, so that's all good. All right, and it's gonna add it to the project, and let's hit save. The detail has been saved, and we're not going to discard any changes to this drawing because I want you to hold on to these drawings in case there's something you can't get these again. But drawing your details like this is a great way to understand how things work, and you can use these on other projects, even studio stuff in the future. Now, obviously, this is a very simple detail, but they will get more complex. Now, to show you how this is going to work down the road real quick, I know this video is going long, but we're going to open up our hard plan. Okay, and what we're going to do is right click. Let me get rid of this fella because I want to do it with you. Yes, okay. So you're going to right click on LS101 and you're going to copy that, okay? Move it to the end, obviously. Okay. Now, right away, let's just give this a soft double click. There we go. And we're going to call this Landscape Site 501. Remember, your details start at 5. Okay. Now, that's the sheet we have open. Okay. And let's get rid of everything in here, the viewports, I mean. Okay. And now there's something we need to do. All right. Otherwise, this can get really frustrating. All right. You need to right click on this and you need to go to Page Setup Manager. Okay. You're going to need to modify this. And we need to turn off display plot styles because we won't see the grid that Land Effects makes, okay, because it doesn't plot. All right. When this is on, it enables you to see all of your line work in black and white, the way it's going to be plotted. It almost negates the fact for doing a preview, which is nice. But in this case, we need it off. So, okay. You need to do that with all of your details. So say now you're seeing it in color. Okay, so now the first thing we're going to do, coming up to FX Details, come to your template, and we're going to insert our sheet template. So you're going to put it from here, and you're going to, for some reason, the snaps don't work down there, but just, whatever. Just grab it there. Okay, but now you see what's going on. And trust me, guys, this may seem really tedious and time-consuming. This is the most efficient way to do your details. Okay, so now remember I told you every one of these tabs has a schedule manager over here, okay? Whether it's planting, okay? Whether it's hardscape. Okay, so details has the same thing. So we're going to open up our details manager. Okay, and we are going to put in our typical 5-inch flat work section. Okay, and we are going to just select that. Now, I'm sorry. If you don't see that in your project, okay, go to New. All right, and if you click on this, it should give you all of your details. And what's cool too is you can actually get a preview. So you can see there's some nice ready-made details for us, okay? Like the mow strip for the garden beds. Okay, now we're gonna be creating a lot of our own details, but we certainly will use some of these as well. Okay, so don't get overwhelmed with all of this. Okay, so just click done. Okay, now this is just like all the trees you have in your planting manager. So click on that, and we're going to place it. Okay, and we're going to place it in hardscape details. See, I already did some of this, so let's just bear with me. Okay, detail number 1. Boom, and then it is gonna fit right there in that box, okay? Now, this is a little messed up because I did it twice, but I'm pretty sure yours is gonna be okay, and I'll get that fixed. Okay, so that's it, making your first detail. And I will go over each one of these details with you, and then some of them we can use not completely out of the box because I want to modify them, but a lot of them will be nearly drawn for us. All right, that's it.